Hello YouTube friends, ben.o.cichlid here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I want to speak with you about a sponge that I'm going to be incorporating into my sump. I've heard about this sponge for quite some time, mostly from John, half man, half cichlid, who goes on and on about these sponges. They're developed by a fellow with a company called Swiss Tropicals. He actually is a doctor, and so quite educated. I'm assuming he knows what he's talking about. And he's developed a type of sponge called a poret sponge. You can see a cross-section of one here. I'm not entirely positive what makes this type of sponge superior to, let's say, something like this. This is just a standard commercial sponge you can pick up on eBay. These sponges are surprisingly, the poret sponges are not necessarily that much more expensive, and he claims on his webpage, which I'll put a link below to his webpage, he claims that these sponges are to be put in and then just left alone. And when you're managing or trying to maintain several tanks, and I tell you, compared to some of my friends like Zenzo and the things that Evan Alexander has going on, people like that, I don't really have a lot to maintain, but if you have several tanks to maintain, any area that you can do a good job and at the same time reduce the amount of time involvement is a good thing, because of course we have other areas of life such as a full-time job, family, things like that. Okay, so I decided to give these things a try, and install them in the sump. I'm going to be putting a coarse, that's this top one here, a coarse, and a medium in right underneath where the water goes into the sump, and you'll see that in a second here on the video. The first step, of course, the hardest part, all of it, was getting it prepped and ready, because I needed to create a little extra space in the sump for the sponge. So I figured it'd be a good opportunity to remove those blue balls. So I took the blue balls out, and you can see here, and I put them into the last chamber of the sump. One of the advantages of having a sump is that you can mess around, you can move things around, you can play around, and tweak and experiment and things of this nature. And so I removed all of the blue balls. I put them into the last chamber where the bubbler, that large disc bubbler I have in there, would keep them moving around and bumping into each other and doing whatever it is that they're doing with regards to beneficial bacteria. These are all custom cut for me at no extra cost. You tell them what sizes you want, and they'll go ahead and cut them for you. I'm not sure if they do circular specialized cuts, like for a canister, where you'd have to have like a special hole in the filter, that kind of thing. I'm not sure, but at any rate, he cut this one for me, and this one will be standing up and forming a wall. And you leave these sponges alone until you see a change in the water level. So as you see here, I marked the water level so that so when this wall starts to become too clogged, then I'll pull this out and I'll rinse it in tank water. But otherwise, you leave it alone and you don't mess with it, and it serves as a home for beneficial bacteria. And according to the owner of Swiss Tropicals, a superior home to beneficial bacteria, and one of the most superior homes that you can actually use in an aquarium. So as you can see, I got this thing fully set up and functioning, and now let's go ahead and let it run, and let's see if that makes a difference. And certainly it'll keep me from having to mess around with that block sponge at the bottom of the first chamber, which when I would pull it out would release a little bit of detritus that would float free in the sump and then of course get returned to the tank. So I'm not going to be messing with that little block sponge anymore. I'm just going to leave this stand-up sponge sort of as a wall standing there, and only if I see that water level increase above the mark that I made with that magic marker, only then would I start to concern myself with rinsing the sponge out. So I think I think this tweak is going to make a good improvement in the function of this sump, and let's see. We'll take a look. It's always a work in progress, and that is one of the things I love about running a sump, is all the variety, all the flexibility, and all the fun you can have with it. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Be sure to comment. I do want to hear your thoughts on setting up sumps, your thoughts on filtration, and certainly your thoughts on port sponges if you've used them, and or filtration in general. Okay, I always appreciate what the Convo Gang has to say. Hit that bell wherever it appears. Join the Convo Gang, join the conversation, and if you're inclined to do so, come on over to Facebook to the ben.o.cichlid group page, a group of friendly fish keepers who don't mind interacting and helping each other. And follow on Instagram if YouTube isn't enough and you want some more. Follow me on Instagram at ben.o.cichlid. You are appreciated. Thank you so much.